Bhagavate Namaha. Om Gum Gurubhyo Namaha. Om Aim Saraswati Namaha. Today we are going to discuss about the 7 stages of enlightenment. Enlightenment is like sunrise. The sun rises, but it suddenly doesn't jump up to the top. It rises slowly. It is pitch dark in the night, as if there is no hope of any light. That is the state of ignorance. Nobody can imagine that there can be any such thing as light when it is pitch dark, like coal. Later on, what happens? Slightly, the sky assumes a grey color. That is the dawn. Slowly, it becomes grey color. After that, it becomes a little pinkish, then slightly whitish, and then we will know the great sun rising slowly in the east. Like that is enlightenment. In the beginning is all like idiocy, all darkness. There are people who are working on the roads, carrying bricks and cutting wood in the forest and living their livelihood. What do they think in their mind? Perhaps survival. Survival, that's all. It's complete darkness as far as enlightenment is concerned. Then a day comes in the life of a person when one wishes to do a good thing and not a bad thing. In the animal condition of human life, the idea of doing the proper thing and avoiding the improper thing doesn't arise. The day comes when at all I must do some good thing. This thought comes. Many people go to the ashrams, leaving their homes, leaving their jobs, and giving up of everything. If they are asked, why have you come here? They just tell, I just want to do some good service. This is the first stage of enlightenment, as declared by the great scripture called Yogavasishta. The first stage is called Shubhecha. Shubha means good. Shubhecha means desire to do good. The next stage is how to do good. The desire to do good is there, but what is good? You go on cogitating and thinking what exactly good is. This is the state next to the mere desire to do good, which is called the state of investigating. It is cogitation, thinking oneself, what is actually the good thing? What am I searching for? What do I want? This stage is called Vicharana. Then the third stage is called Tanumanasi, the thinning out of the mind. The mind is fat with egoism, with the desires of every kind. In the Yogavasishta, there is a verse in Sanskrit, by accumulation of wealth, by greed for pleasures and attachment to this body, the ego becomes fat. They say the body can be fat, but the ego also can be fat. There are people with stout egos. When the mind starts thinking, what is the proper thing for me to do? It begins concentrating on one thing only, wanting the proper thing, because it is concentrating on one thing only. The distractions caused by the various earlier movements of thought in various other directions gradually cease. It subsides. It becomes thin, thread-like as it were. The mind is like a film that covers the consciousness of the self. When it is very thick and dark, the reflection of self-consciousness is prevented completely. When it is thin, it becomes perspicacious, as a light can properly reflect itself through a clean glass, but it won't be reflected in a thick brick. So, in this condition of thinness of the mind, called Tanumanasi state, is about to detach itself from all earlier occupations concerned with the sense objects. Up to these three stages, the enlightenment has not started yet. It's only a preparatory stage, so to say, a stage of kindergarten. It is in the fourth stage that one feels a flash, as if there is a lightning. The sattva guna, the sattva quality of the mind manifests itself in the fourth state. In that condition, when one beholds flashes of lightning, not from the sky, but from within, one is designated as Brahmavid, one who knows Brahman, but is still on the portals, only at the gateway to the palace of Brahman. He has not entered it. This stage is called Sattvapati, attainment of high purity. Then the consciousness of externality melts down into the consciousness of universality. Now we see the world, we see people, we see space-time, sun, moon and stars. We see them because they are apparently outside us. Suppose the sun, moon and stars and all people are studded within my body, I will see nothing outside me. The consciousness of the external existence of things, including space and time, ceases. It is the stage called Asansakti, total detachment from particularity, externality, causality, etc. Then comes the next higher stage, which is the sixth one, Padartha Bhavana, or non-material apprehension. Quantum physicists tell us that matter is light. It's not a dull stone-like substance that this earth is. It is inherently light itself. In this sixth stage, matter sets its materiality, solidity, hardness, externality, weight and dimension. And there is a flood of radiance everywhere, as if the whole universe is one sun. When one single sun rises in the east, we can see how much light is there. Here, in this enlightenment, the entire space becomes sun. What would be the radiance? What would be the light? This is sometimes identified with what Patanjali calls in his sutras Savikalpa Samadhi, a penultimate state of union with the Absolute. In the last state, which is called Turiya, there is none to behold this radiance. The beholder becomes the radiance itself. The radiance beholds the radiance. The sun sees the sun, and there is only the sun. The entire space-time complex that we call as existence is the causative factor of the universe, becomes one mass of indescribable radiance, not of physical light, electrical light, not even sunlight, but consciousness light. In that last stage, which is the seventh, nobody is there to behold it, because the beholder has become the very thing which is to be beheld. This is the absolute experience. Here is the pinnacle of enlightenment, and we will not know what happens to us at that point of time. People ask questions, what happens after enlightenment? Nobody will be there to ask a question like that. No person will be existing at that time. Yet, it is said in the scriptures that the body of such a person may continue to exist for some time. It doesn't mean that he will die immediately. The belief is that in this state of total absorption in consciousness light, a person physically cannot live for more than 2 weeks, sometimes 3 weeks. The body will be shed then. So the seventh stage is Turiya, or the state of superconsciousness. This is moksha. This is also known by the name Turiyatita. There are no sankalpas. All the gunas disappear. This is above the reach of the mind and speech. This embodied salvation, that is otherwise known as Videha Mukti, is attained in the seventh stage. Remaining in this attitude of Atman, without desires, and with an equal vision over all, having completely eradicated all complications of differentiations of I or he, existence or non-existence is Turiya. That which is of the nature of bliss with intelligence is called Turiya. The sage in this stage is completely divested of all vasanas. He is free from all ideas of differences and non-differences, I and not I, being and non-being. The exalted stage of the seventh is the isolation or moksha, which is partless, equal in all, immaculate, beneficent, quiescent, and pure Turiya. The seventh stage, free from all objects and replete with bliss, is stated by some to be Turiyatita, sheet of moksha, which is Chit itself. The seventh stage is above the reach of the mind, self-signing, and of the nature of Sat. In the seventh stage, this embodied salvation is attained. It is homogeneous, it is indescribable, it is beyond the power of speech. As aptly mentioned in the Yogavasishta, people of this type who attains this seventh stage can be counted on the fingers. There will not be a multiple people who are established in this Turiyatita state. And there are ample stories of the enlightened people who have pierced through the cosmos and made it their own, not merely made it their own, they themselves are the cosmos. The Upanishad says the universe is his, nay, he himself is the universe. What more can we say about enlightenment? It is worth thinking deeply. Hari Om Tat Sat. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti, Shanti, Shanti.